Hello, all you beautiful people. My name is Colin, and this is Colin Talks Crypto. Thank you very much for joining me. I've been taking care of some business, so my videos have not been quite as frequent as usual, but it is very exciting. Needless to say, I am not going anywhere. My portfolio has just about reached its previous all-time high in total value. And some of my friends are starting to tell me that their portfolios are approaching their previous all-time highs or surpassing them. And so I hope for you the same best luck. Today we have Bitcoin at $38,000. We have Ethereum at $1,750. Tremendous gains recently. Ethereum having a 31% increase in the past 7 days alone, like massive gains for Ethereum. I am so happy that I have Ethereum as about 60% of my portfolio right now, and Bitcoin makes up about 40% of my portfolio. So Bitcoin's had a 15% increase in the past 7 days, but Ethereum has had a 31% increase in the past 7 days. So they are both doing tremendous. Bitcoin is about to reach its all-time high once again and probably will break through it again in the near future. I expect to see a Bitcoin price over $50,000 within the next 1 to 2 months. And Ethereum is really interesting because we have a $1,750 Ethereum price, which we are all very, very happy with. However, that's not very much over the previous all-time high. If you recall back in 2017, at the end of the year, early 2018, Ethereum hit $1,350. And so we're just about, 20% over the previous all-time high, in contrast with Bitcoin, which is nearly 2x the previous all-time high. And I think this pattern just bodes the same characteristic that we saw in the previous bull run, which is that Bitcoin leads the charge and altcoins tend to follow later in time. So you'll see a Bitcoin price move up, and then later you'll see an altcoin price move up. And that pattern seems to be holding through this entire bull run so far, and it certainly held true in the previous bull run. So this pattern hasn't really been broken yet. So with that being said, if this continues to hold true, I think that we're going to continue to see Ethereum shoot upward. It just recently broke through a massive point of resistance, and I could easily see an Ethereum price surpassing $2,000, perhaps even as high as $3,000, just within the next couple of months. We are approaching the second half, the later tail end of the bull run. And so I'm going to be paying special close attention with you guys, and I'll keep you guys in the loop on the way up as to when I feel I should begin to sell. And this is not ever going to be financial advice. I'm just going to share with you how I'm looking at the market, and we'll see how I do. And if you recall, I recently created the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index. And don't worry, I do intend on updating that metric. Again, I've just been doing some business, and I will be updating that metric with you guys increasingly as we approach the coming bull run. Because, I've done some past bull run approximations on the price and estimations of how high I think we could go. And if you've been following me for the past couple of years, you've seen my price predictions. They're really just simulations or models with proportions using the 2017 bull run and overlaying it over where we are currently. But those price predictions tend to show a $200,000 or a $210,000 Bitcoin price peak. But there's a couple of points about this that I really want to pay special attention to. Now, first of all, that's just a straight proportions. If you take the previous bull run and you overlay it over the current bull run, that's an equal proportion price move. But are we really going to see an equal proportion price move? I actually don't think that we will, but anything is possible. And so I want to be ready for kind of anything. And I want to use as many metrics as possible to help me understand when is the top really approaching us. And so here's one thing that kind of makes me wonder where the peak will be. Will it be 210,000, an equal straight proportion of the previous bull run, or will it be less, or will it be more? Now here's one reason why I think that it could be less. If you take this chart here, and I'll put this on the screen, you can see that each subsequent bull run cycle, which is about 4 years in length due to the halving event, and I'll get into that in a bit later, produces a increase in price that is less and less each cycle. So you have like a 37% X the first bull run, you have like a 16X the next bull run, or a 17X the next bull run in 2017. So if you follow that pattern, it leads me to believe we could see something less than 17x. We might see a 8x or a 10x, something of that nature. Well, if you take a 10x over $20,000, you still get a $200,000 price increase. But if you only take an 8x, then you get a $160,000 price increase. So we don't want to be so stuck on the $210,000 figure that we wait and wait and wait, and then it goes to only $160,000 and we haven't taken any profits. And that would be really a painful experience. I think you can agree. So we want to be ready for anything. So that particular chart leads me to believe it is possible that this bull run could be less than $200,000. I still think it's going to be tremendously more than $100,000, somewhere between the $100,000 and $200,000 price range, but I'm not 100% confident we're going to see over $200,000. It may happen. It may happen in a moment of irrational exuberance. It may happen for a very brief moment. And if you remember back in 2017, toward the end of the year, the Bitcoin price peak, I think it was like December 15th or December 16th of 2017, really only hit that high of $19,900 or $20,000 for just a briefest of moments. Really just for part of a day, it was up there in that price range. So it can be very brief. While we talk about the peaks and the valleys, the tops and the bottoms are often only hit for the briefest of instants. And so you really would have to have your sell orders ready. You can't just be waiting there to manually sell your order and expect to catch it, perhaps while you're sleeping in the middle of the night. And so anyways, I'm just trying to paint the picture that we don't really know where the top is. And I certainly don't know where the top is, but my game here is to help you guys and myself figure out where it could be. So that's an example of how it could be less than $200,000, just on the geometrically decreasing proportions of each bull run cycle. And the reason for that, as I said I'd tell you, is the halving event. And the halving event every 4 years cuts the Bitcoin supply issuance in half. So a half of a half is greater than a half of a half of a half. And every subsequent half is geometrically less. It's exponentially less than the previous half. So there's a less and less shock to the supply. There's a decreasing shock to the Bitcoin supply issuance, and that will affect the price less. And these irrationally high exuberances and these bear market extremes every bull run cycle are a byproduct of the halving event largely. If we assume a fixed or an increasing demand for Bitcoin, then the only other element, the only other variable is the supply issuance. And I've said it before, but in a perfect world, perhaps Satoshi could have invented Bitcoin to have a gradually decreasing supply issuance every single block, the smallest percentage, the smallest fraction of a decrease of block reward per block. But he didn't do that, and instead he made it a 4-year supply reduction, which is a pretty big shock to the system. Now that 4-year supply reduction goes all the way for like 130 years, but obviously the later we get, the less of an issue that is, the less of a shock to the system that is. And already we're seeing fairly low inflation rates for Bitcoin every year because we're down to less than 10 Bitcoin per block, and soon it'll be like 3 Bitcoin per block, which is a very, very small shock to the supply. So that's kind of the technical reason behind why I think the volatility will decrease over time, not only as a greater number of adopters, investors, and people onboard themselves into the cryptocurrency space, but also as the volatility decreases due to the halving event becoming a half of a half of a half of a half, just less influencing to the supply. So we have a more smooth, constant supply as time goes on, and we have most likely a greater number of people onboarding themselves, as we continue to see with these massive corporations, Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, PayPal, Square, you name it. People are putting their money into Bitcoin, and I don't see that trend changing. I see it only continuing to increase. So I am going to pay attention to a lot of different metrics to help me understand where the peak will be. I'm not going to rely strictly on a proportions model because I think that could miss the point. I'm going to take a look at the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index. I'll update that with you guys shortly, and I'll let you know where we're at. But basically it takes a look at all sorts of different metrics and it averages them into a index figure. And that index figure tells us when we're getting close to the top. This will take into account everything from the Google search trend as that increases. It'll take into account the 4-year cycle. It'll take into account the Puell multiple, the Nuppel chart, show me your Nuppels. It'll take into account the stock to flow chart from Plan B, which has proven increasingly accurate as time goes on, and several other charts. I think there's about 9 or 10 charts that I have in this index. So I look forward to sharing that with you guys. So please smash, destroy, and attack that like button. Please share this with your friends and join me on this journey. Please hit that bell icon so that you're notified when I do make a new video. And I hope that your portfolios are all doing awesome and doing well. I'm super happy for all of you who have been making the right moves, getting into the crypto space before the masses. We are still so early, and I'm so happy to be here with you guys on this incredible journey. We are really at the beginning of something so transformative. And those of you who see it with me, I'm just so happy to be here with you. So guys, with that, have a great day, and I'll talk to you again soon.